Devguru Jupiter generates long-term policy on Earth. On Friday, January 10th, while Moon traveled with Jupiter in the sign of Taurus in the sky, while in Kendra to Venus, Japanese energy consulting firm Remix Point announced that it had purchased an additional 33.34 bitcoins for 500 million yen, bringing its total Bitcoin holdings to 333.19 BTC. The company also holds 4.4 million in ETH and 1.2 million in Sol, XRP, AVAX, and Doge as part of its strategy to hedge against the depreciation of the yen. Metaplanet is another publicly traded Japanese firm that has, like Remix Point, adopted a strategy similar to the US's MicroStrategy. The yen began depreciating against the US dollar in February of 2012 and has continued in a downtrend since then. Looking at Japan's natal chart, this downtrend started some months before a new cycle. The Mercury Mahadasha began for Japan near the end of July of 2012. Near the end of July of 2028, Japan begins a new Mahadasha of Ketu. I have mentioned that 2028 is when it becomes clear that corporations and nations that invested in Bitcoin made the right decision. This is because at that juncture, I see that the world will be facing an economic depression. When Japan's Ketu Mahadasha begins, Jupiter will be traveling 11th from Japan's natal Jupiter and on Bitcoin's natal Moon and Saturn. Japan has a special third house. In Japan's third house, it is an exalted Venus and Mars. But Mars is in a Parivartana Yoga with Jupiter, meaning that Venus and Jupiter act like they are together in the third house. The third house relates to short distance travel in cars, for example. And this is why Japan's largest exports are cars and automotive parts. Remix Point is also involved in the automotive sector. The third house also generates gameplay, and at the end of April of 2012, Japanese gaming firm Nexon put 2% of its cash on hand into establishing a Bitcoin reserve, which was at that time equal to 100 million US dollars. I see that Japan's large companies, including its automotive companies and its gaming companies, either establishing strong Bitcoin reserves or accepting Bitcoin as payment, will help the country as a whole starting in 2028. I see Bitcoin particularly. One fascinating thing I notice about the interplay between the planetary configurations when these large Japanese companies have gone into Bitcoin and Japan's own natal chart is that these actions by these Japanese companies are in fact trying to assist the country as a whole. There is a beneficial intelligence that is at play each time by way of helpful planetary configurations. This was the Jupiter Crypto Podcast.